biggest monster battle of this century is going down on HBO Max, but if you're in the mood for more Godzilla vs. Kong, let's learn a few little secrets and tidbits about these two kaiju combatants. Here are 8 things you didn't know about Godzilla and King Kong. Probably. The modern-day Godzilla movies obviously rely on a ton of CGI, but classic Godzilla fans know that the original film versions of Godzilla are all about the iconic rubber costumes. Unfortunately, due to their latex and vinyl construction, two materials that are very prone to rot unless they're sealed in an airtight container, which they most certainly were not, the original Godzilla suits have all since disintegrated, with various stages of decomposition being documented throughout internet history. However, one of the oldest original kaiju suits that is still holding up pretty well today is the Mechagodzilla costume from 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, largely due to the fact that it was built out of fiberglass rather than rubber. The Mechagodzilla suit is actually a kit bash of parts from both the 1974 film suit and the follow-up film, 1975's Terror of the Mechagodzilla. The suit is not only in pretty great shape, but also frequently put on display for the public to see at places like the Tokusatsu Special Effects exhibit in Tokyo. As of the publishing of this video, however, there is no museum for piles of disintegrated rubber costumes, which is a real shame. Next thing. But getting back to big, heavy suits, Haruo Nakajima, the actor who was inside the Godzilla suit for 12 consecutive Godzilla films, initially had a really hard time inside the 220-pound rubber and latex suit. He would frequently pass out if he had to spend more than 3 minutes shooting inside the suit, since it was basically like being trapped in a large, thick balloon with scales. Nakajima ended up losing 20 pounds during the original film's production, so if you're trying to shed that weight you put on during the last year of quarantine, you can always try lounging around in a giant latex lizard costume instead of that sweatsuit you've been wearing on Zoom calls this week.
Why do you have
I really think that the last 2 episodes of
With his imposing stature, menacing roar, and devastating atomic breath, Godzilla might not immediately strike you as the most welcoming guy. However, his long and illustrious career as a Japanese movie icon, albeit a dangerous and frequently incredibly destructive one, managed to land him official citizenship and tourism ambassador status in Shinjuku, Japan, around his 61st birthday in 2016. With those titles came some interesting new job responsibilities for Godzilla, including promoting the entertainment of and watching over the Kabukicho neighborhood, and also drawing visitors from around the globe in the form of the Godzilla head built atop the Shinjuku Toho building. Yes, there is now literally a gigantic Godzilla statue at the Hotel Gracery in Shinjuku, presiding high over the city, occasionally with glowing red eyes or smoke coming from his mouth, which is why you've never seen a real-life Mothra attack Japan. She's too scared. So congrats on becoming a citizen, Godzilla. Now can you stop wrecking the place? Godzilla isn't the only towering, devastating force that has crushed Japanese cities to smithereens in pop culture history, of course. The massive robotic EVA units from Neon Genesis Evangelion have also been known to stomp through skylines fighting gigantic nightmare monsters. So, what do these two franchises have in common? Well, a lot, actually. 2016's Shin Godzilla was co-directed by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, who had both previously collaborated on Evangelion. Plus, the film's music was composed by Evangelion composer Shirao Sakisu, who straight up remixed songs from Evangelion in Shin Godzilla. Additionally, the Universal Studios Japan theme park recently featured an Evangelion vs. Godzilla 4D interactive ride where audiences could be boots on the ground for a massive battle between Godzilla and an EVA unit. But, and this is a bonus thing, if you'd rather see these two iconic titans join forces on your desk instead of tearing each other apart at a theme park, feel free to drop $165 on this nearly 10-inch tall purple robot Godzilla snap-together model kit launching later this year. It's so cute. And scary, but it's really cute. Let's do another cute thing. Even if you don't know him by now, you've probably seen GIFs and memes of Manila, Godzilla's pudgy, adorable, sleepy-eyed son. Lesser known and recognized by internet pop culture trends is Little Kong, King Kong's smaller, friendlier, albino son who starred in his own frequently forgotten film Son of Kong, which released just 9 months after his father's film debut in 1933. That's right, there were 2 King Kong movies that year, one of them starring one of the most iconic movie monsters in history, a towering beast who scaled skyscrapers and swatted airplanes out of the sky, and the other starring a goofy, pale, significantly more petite monkey who tragically drowns at the end of his own film. So, not a great legacy. Moving on. King Kong has faced a lot of large opponents, but one of his more interesting battles took place inside of a courtroom, against none other than the legendary video game company Nintendo. In the early 80s, when Nintendo launched the Shigeru Miyamoto-designed arcade game Donkey Kong, Universal Studios watched as the game about a large ape grabbing a blonde-haired woman and climbing to the top of a building, sound familiar, went on to become a huge success. They demanded money and said, "Hey, that monkey is a lot like our monkey. You should pay us." Nintendo, however, didn't back down and insisted that the rights that Universal claimed to hold over the King Kong IP were nebulous at best, and that Donkey Kong was its own thing, even if it almost bordered on King Kong parody. It was ultimately determined that Nintendo would be allowed to keep making Donkey Kong-related products, which it still does today, and that's great because we'd rather live in a world with King Kong and Donkey Kong existing instead of just one of them. One formidable monster that King Kong has never fought is Frankenstein. But that's not for a lack of trying. Willis O'Brien, who was the original stop-motion animator on the first King Kong movie, spent years incubating an idea where King Kong went head-to-head with a gigantic monster created by Dr. Frankenstein's grandson. In the script, King Kong and Frankenstein's monster were to fight through the streets of San Francisco, culminating in a huge battle on the Golden Gate Bridge. Unfortunately, and unsurprisingly, the studio wasn't really interested in this idea and the film never got made. However, the screenplay was sold to Toho Studios in Japan, where it was decided that King Kong should face a different opponent than the one in the script, Godzilla, which is another bonus thing. And pretty on theme for this episode. Peter Jackson is one of the biggest Kong fans in Hollywood and spent years collecting props from the original films while also toiling away at his own take on a brand new King Kong movie. Fresh off his tremendously successful trio of Lord of the Rings films, Jackson finally had the clout to get his epic, sprawling, 3-hour-long take on King Kong made. And while Jackson's King Kong probably wouldn't have been greenlit without the success of those whimsical Shire hobbits and their enchanted golden loop, he actually used the film to pay homage to a different movie from his catalog, the hyper-gory and grotesque body horror zombie comedy Dead Alive. Dead Alive features a horrid hybrid creature named the Sumatran rat monkey, a large, buck-toothed puppet monster that turns its victims into zombies upon biting them. A reference to this awful animal can be seen in the background in a room on the huge boat that brings Kong to New York, the SS Venture, which is also the same name of the T-Rex hauling boat in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, where a small cage says Sumatran rat monkey, beware the bite. From bats to spiders to Kong himself, Peter Jackson's 2005 film King Kong is rife with horrible monsters, but the Sumatran rat monkey breaking free of the ship's cargo hold and biting Jack Black or Adrian Brody would have made for an even crazier creature feature. Well, that's all the things we got for this episode, but what's your favorite King Kong or Godzilla egg? Easter egg. Not the actual eggs that Godzilla laid in Madison Square Garden in the 1998 Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. We don't talk about those.
It's a good idea.
Got a cool fun fact or anecdote about King Kong that you want to share with the class? Let us know in the comments below, and no matter who you're cheering for in this big battle of the beasts, thanks for watching, and subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more things you didn't know.